Hello, my name is Daniel, and I just want to tell you why you should vote Labour on Thursday. First of all, I would like to address one of the main arguments used by the other parties, that Labour can't be trusted with the economy. It is a myth that Labour spent too much. This diagram proves that spending while Gordon Brown was Chancellor was level to the Conservatives in the 1990s. It actually was better. Only till after the global financial crisis in 2009, which was the worst recession since the 1930s, did the deficit grow. We handled it very well as we bailed out the banks to keep the economy running and savings safe. The Conservatives and Liberal Democrats' plans to cut the deficit by cutting public spending have failed. When the coalition took over from Labour in 2010, the economy was growing at 1.2%, then they messed it up. Vote Labour. Vote for a better economy. Health. We will protect the NHS from further privatisation and ensure healthcare remains free to all who need it. We will hire 8,000 more doctors by taxing houses worth more than £2 million. Vote Labour. Vote to save the NHS. Housing. London is facing a housing crisis with people in overcrowding housing and being forced out of the places they live in. We will build affordable housing for everyday people and not for investments. We will scrap the bedroom tax as our first priority to abolish unfair and outrageous tax on the vulnerable. Vote Labour. Vote for a solution to the housing crisis. Education. In the last election, Nick Clegg promised that he wouldn't raise tuition fees. He voted for them to rise from £3,000 to £9,000 a year. We promised to reduce tuition fees to £6,000 a year so young people won't be put off university by the high prices of tuition fees. Think about it. You would go from being in over £27,000 of debt to being in only £18,000 debt. Vote Labour. Vote for politicians who keep their promises. Immigration. We are proud of the contribution immigrants have made to Britain. We are also proud of our history of providing refuge. I would not be here today if it was not for Britain's open arms for immigrants. In the 1990s, my father sought asylum here from the Iranian government. If it wasn't for Britain, my father would have been a political prisoner and would have most likely been tortured for fighting for freedom for us Arabs in Iran. We will prevent immigrants receiving benefits for 2 years, employ 1,000 more border staff, and fight to tackle the exploitation of illegal immigrants. Vote Labour. Vote for this wonderful legacy. The Conservatives and Lib Dems have broken Britain. Vote Labour on Thursday so we can fix it.
Hello, I am Salma.
I'm Yassine.
In just a little time now, you can decide who is going to run the country for the next 5 years. Over the past 5 years, the Conservatives has taken an economy which Labour left in ruins and started to mend it. Thanks to the British people's hard work, we have now an economy where every day there are 500 more businesses, 1,000 jobs created, where there are more people working in industries than ever before. Wages are rising faster than prices, and last year ours was Europe's fastest growing major economy. Now, on Thursday, you can vote for all this to continue, or on Friday, wake up to Ed Miliband propped up by the SNP and find your hard work in ruins.
Let's turn the clock back 5 years. When Labour were last in office, they left a note saying there is no money. After saving and spending too much, this left this country on the brink. Over the last 5 years, this is what we had to mend. This is what our long-term economic plan has been all about. There are now 760,000 more businesses, 2 million more jobs, and cutting tax for 26 million people. If we stick to the plan, we could look forward for a brighter, more secure future. So vote for the Conservatives on Thursday, and you have the security of a plan that's working. You have stable government and the strong economy of which our schools, our NHS, and our families' future depend. But vote for any other party, and Britain's recovery would be stopped dead in its tracks. Ed Miliband, propped up by the SNP, would wreck the recovery. With more debt, more borrowing and more taxes, the results would be appalling.
If you vote for the Conservative government, we will take 3 million people out of tax, more than any other party has done. Make sure your parents, single parents, can work by having free childcare for working families. For the working class, we have created 2 million jobs in the last 5 years. 760,000 more businesses were created in the UK.
And we would give an extra £8 billion to the NHS. We have made 10,000 more doctors and 7,000 more nurses. We have invested money in schools.
So vote for the Conservative Party and we will make your future a brighter future. Thank you.
The Green Party. The Green Party's predominant aim is to create a humane, caring society that supports everyone's needs. We propose a more equal and democratic civilization whilst undertaking our roles in healing the planet, which has been severely damaged as a result of an unstable economy.
We have a genuine care for the future, including the young people now. We believe that children are over-assessed in schools and teachers are being buried with rules and regulations. The government has obliged teachers with this method. They are unaware that students are losing their desire and will to learn. We offer a broad, balanced, enriching curriculum that will free pupils to rediscover the excitement of learning and release them from a system built on competitiveness.
We also believe that diversity and equality is a crucial element of society. The Green Party embraces cultural development and celebrates diversity, not punishing it. Unlike other parties, we do not blame immigration for low wages, housing shortages, or for crowded public facilities. These are the failures of the government. Instead, we plan to develop society to fit the population, not the other way around.
Our green transformation will have great benefits towards the UK. The effects of warming climate will affect everyone. Climate change will make parts of the world inhabitable, and it's happening fast. The Green Party will tackle the climate change faster and more effectively by moving Europe from a fossil-fueled economy to a one powered by renewable energy. End factory farming and animal testing, and invest in upland water conservation and flood defences to shield us from the extreme weather events.
The Green Party is not to be known as a party who is solely concerned with environmental issues, but endorsement of democracy, sustainable development, non-violence and social justice. In other words, changing the world for the common good.
Hello, my name is Mergim and I am representative for UKIP. UKIP believes in Britain. It believes in you. We believe that Britain has the talent and skills, and that's what makes this country so great. We want to boost our social welfare system so that people can get the care they need and deserve. UKIP believes in Britain. We believe in our talent. We believe that we have the world-class scholars and universities and students. We believe that to retain our cutting-edge research and lead to the world that we need with a new generation of scientists. That means we would remove all tuition fees for you, the future of Britain. Anyone studying science or medicine will be supported through universities without fees, just as they'll go on to support the UK with their homegrown talent. We will add an extra 8,000 GPs and 20,000 nurses to help reduce the burden on the precious NHS. UKIP will build 1 million more homes by 2020, and we would bring empty houses back into use. We would also raise benefits for carers, reduce the amount of tax paid by the lowest earners. We want the best people to come to the UK, so we advocate a point system that will ensure the greatest doctors, lawyers and engineers will come to the UK. The UK needs the skilled immigrants and we support their contribution. Economically and culturally, UKIP is a party of inclusion. Immigrations are not the problem. The immigration system is broken. Why should foreign criminals be able to stay in the UK? Housing benefits and work benefits help good people do good things. Why should someone be able to access those payments without having paid a tax? We advocate a 5-year working tax period before people can access those benefits. Britain should have control over Britain. We know what's best for us. Leaving the European Union will regain us independence and free us from the clutches of a slow, cumbersome organisation which sucks money and energy out of the enterprise of Britain. The European Union presents a danger to our national sovereignty. It puts the risk of the very fabric of Britain by imposing rules and regulation that shouldn't be applied here. We do not want to give those votes to convicted criminals, people who have chosen to work outside of the law and damage our communities. Staying in Europe would continue to drag Britain down, and we have so much progress that could be made. The future of Britain is in your hands, the hands of UKIP, who believe in Britain.
We are the Youth Voice Party. Samuel Ribeiro
Ahmed Lamri.
And Tariq Abdurrahman.
Why vote for an independent party?
At the moment, governments do not listen to what the people want. We have an election every 5 years, but apart from that, people feel ignored and have no power. This is certainly true for young people, as those under 18 cannot even vote.
So what is Youth Voice? We will be different. We will work for the majority of the people whilst never ignoring the needs of minorities. We will do everything in our power to represent the views of young people. We will change the system to make sure life is fairer and better for everyone.
Our focus is on young people and their needs, but we take the best ideas from all the other parties into account. We do not want a coalition, but we would consider working with anyone for the good of the country.
Here are some of our key policies. Young people. Lower the voting age to 16 to allow young people to have their say. Education.
Make funding for education 6 form bursaries of over £100.
Crime. Crime should not be permitted, and all allegation of any kind of abuse, assault, sexual harassment, murder will be taken very seriously with a minimum of 7 years and a maximum of 70 years in prison. Crime prevention. More street lighting and more youth centres.
Immigration.
To tackle illegal immigrants in the UK, our party has decided to raise the number of security guards in airports and ports. Immigrants can be a great benefit to society, but before any person can claim welfare benefits, they must have paid taxes here for at least 2 years. You must have a valid visa to come to Britain, and immigrants must prove that they have a job after 6 months of being here.
Environment. By 2020, 50% of all our energy must come from renewable resources. We will use solar and wind power, and we will introduce incentives for people to change their energy supply.
Defense. We need to increase
our military spending and include on the Trident nuclear deterrent to make us secure in uncertain times.
So if you like the sound of our policies
and you want a fresh start for Britain,
please vote
Youth Voice.
Let's face it, there is no way that Nick Clegg will become Prime Minister. But there is a high chance that there will need to be a coalition. You should vote Lib Dem because we are the only viable coalition's partners. Not only that, but we make the other main parties so much better. We will give a brain to the Labour and a heart to the Conservatives. No one can really trust Labour or Conservatives to fairly and sensibly run this country. The Tories have cut benefits and are promising to cut them by a further £12 million. The most concerning part of this is that they have not ruled out cutting children benefits, the money that goes to the parents of every single child in this school. During the coalition government, the Lib Dems already stopped them by cutting this by £8 million. Labour were the party whose reckless spending took us into recession years ago. They clearly cannot be trusted with the economy. They spend their time talking about policies that will attack the rich, for example, the mansion tax, without being able to tell us how much money they will raise or how exactly they will pay for it. They are spending all their time creating anti-wealth propaganda rather than creating policies that will help the future generation. The Greens have good qualities with only one MP, so no difference can be seen. However, UKIP is not to be talking about. The media has given them enough time. They've embarrassed themselves already, so no need to put them down anymore. The Lib Dems are the party with the best interests of the youth of Britain, the future of Britain. We have made education spending our main priority, and we will not go into coalition with any party that will not agree to spending the £5 billion we have planned for education spending. Money that will go directly to helping students and giving them the education they deserve and the best start in life. In addition to this, we want to introduce free healthy lunches for every child at primary schools, which will help every child feel equal between all other students. We also want to introduce 200,000 more apprenticeships for school-age children. We know that not everyone is made for A-levels. An apprenticeship is the best route for many young people, helping them to gain experience and qualifications whilst getting paid. We want your school curriculum to be set by experts. Yes, by experts, not by politicians who think you should learn what they learned 30 years ago. As an example, Michael Gove did it in the last government. We want your education to prepare you for the future, the best coming, for the best jobs all over the world. We are also the only party to place a real focus on mental health. Millions of young people are affected by mental health problems every year. We want to spend £1.25 million on mental health funding for young people. Again, policies that will directly impact many people in this school and all schools around us. We believe above all else in spreading opportunities, in tearing down the barriers that stop people from reaching their potential. You should not be paying for the mistakes of an older generation. Yes, we increased tuition fees, but we feel that making sure that the primary and the secondary education that people receive is more important than it is. We need to focus on the education that everyone receives. Tuition fees are affordable. The poorest young people in society do not have to pay for them. And the loans that you take out, if you do have to pay for them, have the fairest term any loan could have. Think of it. Think of it more as an extra tax on people who have graduated universities. You only start paying it once you can afford it, and unless you are earning a very high wage. You don't have to pay it all back. Nothing we have introduced has prevented hard-working and aspirational young people from reaching their potential. So please do vote for Liberal Democrats Abu Talib Mohammed. Thank you.